Greetings from D-Lab. On the bench today I have a Drake 2B receiver that I recently picked up at a Hamfest. I got a great deal on it because it was humming. That's not because it's a happy radio, that's because it has a bad filter cap. Let me show you the symptoms and show you the solution. Here's a little Drake 2B receiver. It's not in the best of cosmetic shape, but it's still very restorable. And what do we have next to it? A bottle of wine. This is Born of Fire. My son actually turned me on to this wine. It's excellent. So while I drink the wine, I'll let you hear the hum from the radio. So let me power it up and take a listen. Hear it? Doesn't matter where the AF gain is. Kind of goes up, fades out, but it's still there. If you have a receiver that's doing that, do not continue to run it. You've got a bad filter cap, and if you continue to run it, it's going to damage the radio. Alright, let's get it apart and take a look at the cap. Screws are out. Chassis slides right out of the cabinet fairly easily. There's a bit of dust on it, a lot of corrosion on the chassis, but we are going to change this. Alright, so here you are. You're getting ready to replace that filter cap in your Drake 2B. If you get online and you look up the replacement capacitor, you're going to see something like this. One of these aluminum can mount type caps. And they're around $45 to $47 for that part. Most of these caps that you find are rated at approximately 450 volts. If you look at the manual for the 2B, you'll see that the original filter cap was only rated 150 volts. So why would you want to put such an overrated cap in the radio? Yes, I understand that, you know, nostalgic wise, this looks better, okay? But you do have an option. Long time ago I did a video and I featured these little capacitors. This cap is actually individual radio caps mounted on an octal socket, which will go right in this radio, okay? Here is what it looks like without the heat shrink on it. So you can see the individual radio caps, okay? These caps are rated at 200 volts, which will do a fine job for the 2B. And you can build this for like $5, okay? So that is what we're going to install into the 2B. We are not going to do this. We're going to save some money and do that. Well, here we go. There's that original capacitor that we're going to replace. Here it is, underside. I'd highly recommend that before you do this, you keep your manual handy, okay? It's easy to confuse where these wires are going. I'm going to make it easy and cut these terminals and leave everything sitting right where it's at. I've cut the terminals, everything is hanging loose just as it was. Now I'm going to remove the can cap itself and I need to drill a couple holes for the mounting of the tube socket in place of the cap. Well, after you've cut the terminals, getting that original filter cap out is a piece of cake. They only soldered one tab. So you just take some wire cutters and you can actually bend these guys back up, get under the one that is soldered, and be careful of course, and you can bend him right up too. To break the solder, out goes the original cap. Alright, next step, you want to drill the holes to mount the socket. So I've already marked my 2 holes. I'm going to take the drill, make sure obviously there's nothing underneath that you're going to interfere with. You don't want to drill through wires, right? You can get these drilled. We'll put some 440 screws on there. And next we'll be wiring up the new filter cap. Alright, there's a little D-Lab cap in place. Take a look underside. You can see the socket. Now we simply have to wire it up. So before you start wiring up your new filter cap, you have to add a ground runner to the chassis, okay? So if you look at my little diagram, you'll see which pins are the commons. Tie that to chassis because this is not a metal type cap that uses the case as common ground. Alright, there we are, all wired up. Make sure to verify no shorts against your schematic. Make sure that you have the sections going where they should. At this point, let's power it up and see if the hum is gone. Here we go, applying power. Let's see if we have eliminated that hum. There's my volume. Absolutely no hum. $5 worth of parts, 2 Bs up and running. Well, there's another economical tech tip from D-Lab Electronics. If you want a copy of the schematic to make your own, or if you want me to build one of these little filter caps for you, drop D-Lab a line. More tech tips on the way. Thanks for tuning in.